Welcome to NSK.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Rise. We're going around Kenya interviewing different entrepreneurs from the whole spectrum. So here we're at NSK, Nairobi Street Kitchen. This is the place to go in Kenya. I'll go introduce you guys to the owner.
MVP, I'm a winner. They know that I'm a winner. If they know that I'm a winner. Every time I'm falling short, I'm going through. Yeah.
Hi.
Alyana, how are you? How are you?
Good.
It's great
Nice
to meet you.
you.
Great to meet you.
My name's Alyana Popat, one of the co-founders of NSK, also known as Nairobi Street Kitchen, based here in Nairobi.
Right. And so I've never come across a place anything like NSK. Why don't you share the vision? Like, what inspired this?
Yeah, sure. So as a family and obviously as siblings, we travel around the world quite a lot. And I think what I saw was that there were a lot of sort of food halls popping up across specifically like America and Europe. And it's something that, I mean, we had like nothing here basically. It was like an old rundown building and we had plans to do some sort of like a hotel and retail space, but that investment would have been like massive. And also there's so many hotels around the area at the moment. So we were like, we're not going down that route. But yeah, basically we said, let's do something on, food related and let's do something that's super different to what's in the market. And so the concept of a food hall kind of came up and we're like, let's put in some food trucks, in the empty space. But then it sort of evolved from that to let's actually build out this space and actually create something that is what you pretty much see today with lots of food concepts, obviously the bar element to it, retail side to it, and then also incorporating a lot of like local sort of, I would say, flavor or sort of local artists and entertainment into the whole space. So you have this like one big sort of experience.
Right, yeah, that's awesome. And how is that inspired specifically by people in Kenya?
Yeah, okay. So basically so my sister did a lot of the design side of things and I'm more of the operator.
Okay.
But I would say, I don't want to give you a figure, but like almost like 90% of what you see in the space is all locally sort of assembled or made. So for example, like, I don't know, the furniture, most of it was actually made here locally in Kenya. Yeah. A lot of the sort of art that we'll see when we walk around, we engaged a bunch of different sort of like Kenyan artists to paint walls, to paint, like some of the food concepts, some of, the walls on that side. What else? Yeah, I mean, I would say like obviously the lights were imported.
Right.
So I don't think we make certain kind of lights in Kenya, but those are just small things. And the cassettes that you see in the bar, which we can show you later, that was sort of just collected from all our like grandparents and like our aunts and uncles.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you'll see there's a sort of really interesting mix of cassettes in terms of like the sort of albums that are on them. So anything from like, Indian music to old school rock, to pop and so on. So it's quite a nice mix of things.
What's the biggest challenge has been creating a restaurant, bar, club, barber, everything here in Nairobi?
So I don't think I don't think the creation part was a challenge. I think it's the operating part.
Right.
So it's still a challenge.
Okay.
I think the hardest thing for me right now is sort of people management.
Okay.
And I think you're going to hear that across most interviews that you do.
Yeah.
Because working with people is, of course, incredibly
sit down over here.
interesting, but also incredibly challenging, to be honest. But also like trying to find certain people to fill in some of the more sort of like senior roles, it's really hard. So right now I have 3 expats at the company. Trust me, like my whole goal is not to ever have an expat working for a Kenyan company. I think we should be able to find really good head chefs and really good managers locally, but we're just not able to do that. Not to the level that we need basically. And I think that's a big challenge. But also the other thing I think that's really hard for me to process, because it happens so frequently, is issues with theft, issues with unethical behavior, and it just happens like a lot. And sometimes you wonder, like, can you really blame people who come from very difficult underprivileged backgrounds and who don't necessarily think very long term like maybe the rest of us do, and are looking to gain in the short term, which will probably end up losing their job because they think like that. So we have a lot of that, and till today I honestly struggle to kind of understand why people do things like that, like, unethically, knowing that it's going to cost them their job. But it happens here all the time.
That's difficult.
Especially in this industry, it happens a lot. Yeah, so that's really hard. But other than that, I would say, I would say we do have very talented people at the same time. And we have very sort of hardworking and, how do I say, like passionate people. And I think it's also very nice to see that, because not everyone is on the one negative side. I think a lot of people are very passionate about their jobs, and Kenyans generally, I would say, are very sort of like hospitable and friendly people, and that comes out in totality here. So how do we now take that to the next level and make sure that throughout, different roles within businesses, we can have strong Kenyans basically working in all modes.
What do you think would be the differences in challenges and opportunities between Kenya and North America?
I mean, I think, look, obviously I visited a lot of restaurants and hotels in the US, and the quality and the caliber of people and their training is obviously far superior to what we have here.
Right.
But they have the schools, they have the platforms for that. We have decent sort of educational system and platforms, but I think we can have so much more.
Okay.
And I think if us as like private sector contribute to that, then we can actually take that level of service and, product knowledge and training to a completely different level. But we need to put the time into it. We need to invest in that, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think that's one of the main things, to be honest. I must say though that I feel that Kenyans are a lot more hospitable than Americans.
I've noticed that too.
I'm sure you guys agree with that.
People are very nice with the service here.
When it comes to like hospitality service.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a different.
It's unmatched.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's opportunity here.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we just don't push ourselves to compete globally. We're always trying to compete with who's the best in this market in Kenya, and that's just not good enough for me. I think for us, we should be looking at the top in New York or the top in Chicago, whatever it is, or Hong Kong, whatever it is, and that should be the benchmark.
That's the standard.
Benchmark and standard here is very low, and it's not acceptable. In my opinion, it needs to be taken to a completely different level.
Well, I mean, just seeing this place compared to the average place in Kenya, it's
I don't think that my standard is high enough here. I think we still have so much to go.
Still can go higher.
Yeah, of course.
And another thing that I wanted to get into as well is the youth unemployment here, because that's definitely a big issue. And I feel like you saying that you'd way rather have hire local managers and etc.
For sure,
rather than
100%.
hiring expats and stuff. So I think that ties into that pretty well.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, but I also feel like I also think I'm changing my mentality a little bit, and I feel like the younger generations now want to work in a very different way.
How so?
Because so I was always brought up being taught you have to work hard, you have to put in the hours, you have a lot of capacity, and I agree to a certain extent with that, but I've been doing that, and I'm I don't know if I want to continue doing that for a very long period of time. I kind of want more of a sort of balance in my life.
Right.
So I want to work more smarter, but I want to work less, and I want to make more, But
doesn't everyone?
It's all, I do, yeah, but everyone definitely wants to do that. But
yeah.
I just feel now I want to put more emphasis into just having a well-balanced life and just being happy and being content,
Right.
instead of wanting to build so much more and wanting to make money, because that's not really important to me.
So why is this setup working so well? What makes it so successful?
Yeah, so when we put sort of our business plan together, we're trying to figure out who we're going to target with the concept. And most people, when they put a business together, they normally have some sort of specific target audience. But with us, we were trying to target multiple sort of groups of people.
Right.
So we have, because we operate basically from 8 a.m. to, on some nights, 5 a.m.
Some nights,
sometimes 6 a.m.
Yeah, Nairobi's crazy. Man.
Yeah, exactly.
In Canada, all the bars close at 2 a.m. Cancel.
Yeah, the US is similar as well.
Yeah, same thing in America.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think at my age, I
6 a.m.
prefer 2 a.m. closing, but sometimes you just need to extend.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
crazy.
but basically we're trying to target so many different types of audiences.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically anything from a corporate coming here for lunch with partners or with colleagues to families coming on the weekend with their kids, having brunch, to, people like us who want to come for drinks after work
Right.
and maybe continue and party till later on. So yeah, multiple different audiences, corporates coming upstairs to use our space. So the space upstairs, which was originally going to be like a lounge, has turned into a full-on club.
So it's a nightclub.
Sometimes it's a conference space.
Oh, really?
Sometimes it's like, set up for like a full-on like ballroom dinner. Sometimes
Right.
people have their wedding parties there.
Really?
So it's a very sort of like diverse
Yeah.
space that we're using.
I remember during the
upstairs.
Euro
Yeah.
Cup, you guys were playing all the football games upstairs
Yeah,
too.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So then how many different companies work within NSK? Because
Right.
like right over here, we got the barber. I get my haircut done here. Hey?
Oh, nice,
Yeah, I
okay.
was here like 2 weeks ago. We got my haircut done.
Yeah, so so initially everything was pretty much run by us.
Okay.
But then the retail, we obviously each container is being sort of rented out to a retail brand.
Right.
So yeah, the ones that you see on the strip here basically are all different retail brands that we work with. Inside actually, so initially we wanted to run all the food concepts, but we decided let's sort of tweak the model a little bit and let's bring in tenants that give us consistent rent and also maybe a percentage of revenue as well, dependent on the tenant. So inside when we walk through, you'll see there's two concepts that are not ours actually, but they pay us a rent, and it's the Italian concept, the pasta concept, and the Thai concept. And we're actually speaking to a few, maybe other people, to bring in more food concepts so that we're sort of continuously diversifying the offering, which I think is needed because the whole concept is come in with 10 people and you can have 10 different cuisines or 10 different meals and share that. And I think that's what we wanted, in the first place.
Yeah. And going back to what you were saying about the target customer, who you said there's lots of them.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've noticed is that there's lots of expats. Like me and all my
Yes.
friends that come here, for an example,
Yeah.
we're not originally from Kenya, but
Yeah,
we all
sure.
come here, and we're all working here right now.
Yeah.
But we're from all around the world.
Yeah.
So I feel like that ties in a lot of
True,
a lot of
yeah,
what the people come here
Of course.
for. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think people relate as well.
Yeah.
When they see a concept like NSK, and
Yeah.
I think that's super helpful for us. And we're consistently doing so many different kinds of events to target different audiences, right?
Yeah.
So like on the weekend we have like a country event,
Oh, really?
and apparently
missed it.
countries are really no, as in like we had one, we have another one this weekend.
It's
But
coming
like,
up.
yeah,
Let's go.
apparently country is like a really big sort of music genre in
Yeah.
Kenya. And like, I mean, I didn't know that until recently. But like, we're trying to capture now that market. We have jazz this evening, so we're capturing a more like sort of relaxed Wednesday evening market. Tomorrow, we have salsa, and it's full on expat like
Right.
mode, literally,
Salsa night
which is
crazy
quite
here. You
nice.
guys
Yeah,
sell that every
exactly.
night.
But then upstairs, you have like this sort of middle-aged crowd downstairs, and then you'll have like the younger crowd upstairs,
Yeah.
full on like partying on a Thursday night till like 5 a.m., which is incredible.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I've never come across any place like this.
Yeah.
Nairobi, Kenya, it's different. And so how do you guys support local creatives around here?
Yeah, so in, I guess, multiple ways. As you can see on some of the walls or in some of the concepts, there's a lot of art.
It's all the concepts.
Actually,
It's
yeah,
all
a lot of. Yeah, so here's one. I think this is an artist called Kalas.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's, this concept was pretty much going to be like sort of that crazy dessert concept, where we wanted to tweak it like every couple of months. But he came in and he pretty much, I think we gave him a little bit of freedom. So we said, this is the concept, this is where we're going for, this is sort of the USP, kind of like express yourself.
Okay.
Right? And I think we have some really incredible talent here, and I'm sure you know that already.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we worked with so many different artists, and we just let them express themselves in the space because that's what we want for the
Right.
space. And beyond just sort of expressing yourselves through art, we look at working with, sort of entertainers.
Right, yeah.
From anything from like comedy to sort of musicians
Mhm.
to DJs and so on. So
Yeah.
upstairs you'll see it's a space that we've used for, multiple different events.
Yeah.
And we want to give Kenyans and artists that platform to sort of express themselves. And that was sort of the vision for the space.
Yeah, that seems like that's a big focus of NSK, because
100%.
even on your website, you have a unique page for each artist that's contributed to NSK.
Yeah.
And I was looking over that.
But we have to do that. I think it's only fair that people, when they want to learn more about the art, that they can go online and sort of learn more about the artists.
Yeah, and I feel like that actually builds a foundation for the artists to build off of.
Yeah.
And then how is supporting these artists helped you in the long run?
Well, of course, like you have to understand that these artists also have their own sort of databases and their own followings. And so, of course, if I have artists here or people are performing here, they're bringing their followings into my space. And maybe these are followings that I would have never really approached or sort of been able to touch if these guys were not in my space, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of expanding the sort of, I don't know, the audience that has access into NSK, and I think that's important. We want to be as inclusive as possible, and we want a whole bunch of different people coming into the space, and that's important for us. So that's why we have to go out and work with so many different people. And you want to see it further?
It's okay, I got them again. Wow. So the beginning of building NSK, how long have you guys been open for now?
3 years in June, actually. Okay. Well, we were 3 years in June. Oh,
do you want to just sit down here?
By the way.
Oh, the country event.
Yeah.
Let's go. 2 p.m. till late. 5 a.m.
It depends, right?
So how did you guys initially grow the company as it began?
So obviously, the word of mouth was really that it helped us sort of push who we were and the space, and people would come in and just take their phones out and just go crazy. Yeah. And so they created so much content for us that was just being pushed out to on different platforms to different people. So that really helped us sort of get that footfall coming in for the first couple of months. Right. And then of course, like with every new space, if you don't continue that sort of what do you call it, like the craze, I guess, to a certain extent, then it's going to die down. So we've had to now get a little bit more strategic and be like, okay, we need to do more events, we need to boost our posts, we need to target different audiences. And so we did a lot on digital, and we still do a lot on digital. We spent a decent amount of money on digital because it's sort of that platform that I think for the kind of space that we have and the target audiences are all on that, like all on the different digital platforms.
Yeah, so it works, but I think overall just like the concept came first, and then since it's such a good concept, people want to come, then when they hear about it, they'll come.
Of course, definitely. I mean, there's still a lot of people that don't know about it. Like, I think weekly we meet people and they're like, we've never been to that place, where is it? Yeah. But those are different audiences that I think they normally go to their own sort of local environment, basically, and that's where they hang out. Yeah. And it's more of a more mature market. Like if you meet someone who's between maybe the age of like 18 and maybe 20, 30, most likely they've been here. But anyone above that, like sometimes, a lot of the times you'll find people that have not actually been here. Right. So it's only touched a small percentage. We have a long way to go. So it's still growing. That's like any business, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah.
Still growing.
Yeah.
Good.
You want to see it?
It's okay, I got it. And to finish off, I'm going to share like the craziest story that's ever happened at NSK. I'm sure there's a lot, because I mean, you got everything here.
I don't think it's appropriate, the one that's in my head. Definitely.
Right. The most like half appropriate, craziest story.
I need to think about that. I'm not gonna lie, because I have really inappropriate stuff with people.
I can imagine. Take your time.
I mean, we had King Charles visit us. I don't know if that's
really?
interesting.
Yeah, actually, Alyana told me that.
Yeah. So he came in November, and it was like a British Council event that was sort of focused around Kenyan entrepreneurs and specifically in the creative industry. Yeah. But yeah, he came in and only for like, I think half an hour, of course.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I think he liked the space. He's an interesting character, of course, as you know. Yeah. But he came in, he engaged with like the creatives and a couple of our staff, which was amazing, I think. Because let's be honest, like I don't think they would ever have an opportunity to meet someone at like that level. And I think, it was cool. It's good PR for us, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.